It helps to check so that you're not in a situation where you shouldn't be. Because I've also heard horror stories of schools getting shut down for that very thing. So have not fake face. Hi. That's still fake. Sit up so people can see you.
Hey guys, it's CC Lesson 3. Welcome back to my channel. So I get a lot of DM questions on Instagram where you guys ask about like teaching in Korea at Hagwons in public schools. I don't know anything about Hagwons. You might remember my friend Erin from the EXO tempo reaction with Artemis. Oh, I have to turn that up. And she actually worked at a Hagwon, so I can tell you guys what I know about public schools, and she can tell you what she knows about Hagwons, because they're very different. And for those of you who don't know, Hagwon is like an English academy. It's like a private academy, and there are way more Hagwon jobs than there are public school jobs. With public schools, I think you can go through a recruiter, but they're mostly like Epic or Talk, like specific government type of programs. Whereas Hagwons, you can just get a recruiter,
so,
right?
When I first started looking for jobs in Korea, I looked at both Hagwons and public schools, but I realized that because of my pet, it might be a little easier for me to get private schools. I was told that with public school, you only get maybe about one recruiter to look for any public position. With private schools, Hagwons, you get to choose as many recruiters as you feel comfortable with, or you can, I've known some people who are able to find a job on their own, online, or contacts or whatever, and generally they go through their interview process that way, either through a recruiter or on their own. But it's almost, I wouldn't say unlimited, I would say maybe you can have about 3 or 4 recruiters that are looking for jobs for you at the time.
So I think they're easy to get and they pay a lot more.
Yeah.
I only made 1,600 a month, well okay, 1.6 million won, which is about 1,600 US. But even with the Talk program, you get 1.5 million, but because I had more than one school and transportation was long, that's how much I got. Now you got like...
Yeah, I got more. I was getting paid more, but I was also working longer hours, less vacation days. So
yeah,
with public schools, they get a lot more vacation days. So it kind of balances out. It depends on how you want to spend your time in Korea. Myself, I did want to make a savings while I was there, so I felt like it was better that I was doing the private school. If you want to just mostly travel and teach as well, then I would say public school for sure.
With the Talk program, it's definitely a lot more lax than like Epic or other we only work 15 hours a week, and I actually never worked the full 15 hours a week. Yeah, my first year I got Fridays off. My second year I only taught after school, so like the Talk program is a lot more relaxed and a lot more lenient, I would say, than like a Hagwon, where you're more involved with like parenting, and like they're more involved with like hands-on with the kids and everything.
With a lot of public schools, you are required to do either monthly or weekly reports on your students and have a lot more interaction with the parents. The parents, generally the younger the student is, the more involvement the parent has with you as their teacher. So be prepared for that.
I only saw parents during open classes, which we only had like once a semester. So, and sometimes like sports day, I would see them, but they would never really speak to me. They were, hello, nice to meet you, or they would kind of, the only interaction I had with them was when their kids would say, this is my English teacher, and they were, hello. So I didn't really have to deal with, you know, parents on a one-on-one level like that.
Also, did you have a co-teacher at all, or?
Yes. First year I was there, I taught after school with a college student. She would come and help me. And then we had English classes, like curriculum classes. I had the English teacher that I taught with her. But for her, like with the Talk program, I think the expectations vary based on the school you have, because for me, I just had to come up with the games. I had to like help her with her spelling and grammar issues that she might have, she'll write something on the board and say, is that right? Or I would go around the classroom and make sure people are actually doing their work, or stand in the back and kind of watch them and see if they're actually attempting to do their work. Where the second year, I was strictly just after school. Like I didn't teach any curriculum at all. But I've also had other friends in the Talk program who were the English teacher at the school, so it just varies. Yeah. You're always in a rural area with Talk. It's advertised as an after-school program, but you will sometimes teach curriculum too. You get paid less, but it's livable. You still get your rent paid for and everything. I honestly, the talk program, it was like too good to be true. Like, it was like, it's such a steal. Like, you, especially if you're going with the intent to see Korea and travel, you get so much time off to do that. If you work 15 hours a week, think of how much time on the weekends you have. You don't have to worry so much with like lesson planning and kids notes.
Kids notes. Sometimes you're expected to do a monthly or a weekly report on the students, and Kids Notes is just an app that it's just one app. I know that there's many other forms of ways to communicate with parents, but one app that they use is Kids Notes. And you kind of just write up what your student was doing that week, or what you did in the class, and how they're progressing in learning English. I would say that like the benefits to private school would be definitely the pay. Definitely, the curriculum varies from school to school. Generally, private schools will lay it out for you. This is what we want you to teach. This is how we want you to teach it. But if you want creativity, I would say definitely public school.
I will say, I think there should be a textbook with talk, because they kind of, you just do what you do and hope that it's what the school wants you to teach. Like, for the first year, it was easier for me because I taught curriculum and then I taught after school same day. So I would just kind of make games and activities to reinforce what we talked about during the curriculum classes. Whereas my second year, I had no idea what the EPIC teacher was teaching them during the day, and I tried to communicate with her a little bit, but we worked on off days.
In terms of housing, like, everything was provided with talk, right?
Yeah.
So.
With talk, everything is provided. Housing, the only thing, I mean, obviously you cover your like gas and utilities, Wi-Fi, internet,
right.
Stuff like that.
That's the same.
Which I really only paid like less than 100,000 won a month for everything. Yeah, but also that included a $50 convenience fee or a maintenance fee that I would have to pay. And
my maintenance fee was, I think, $60.
I think another major difference is like the vacation time.
Yeah, I wish I had a lot more vacation time than I did. But it's not a complaint. It's just saying that in the future, like, when I go to apply again for other schools, that's gonna be in my mind. Definitely make sure you put a list of priorities of what you're looking for in terms of your position and what are your deal breakers, because the recruiters sometimes can try to push you to make a decision rapidly, and if they don't meet your requirements, mind you have to be on the other end of this. You can't just expect, oh, they want me, great, I have a job now. You need to say, this is what I'm looking for and this is what I expect. If I can't get it, then I can go somewhere else. And know that you can. All of the required benefits, health insurance, everything that you should have with each position that you get. But make sure that you have your list and you stand your ground, you don't waver, because I almost got sent where I didn't want to go, and I was just like, no, I don't want to live on an island. I don't want to live on Jeju. Yeah, I don't want to live on Jeju.
I didn't want to be in Jeju either, but I kind of just accepted it because with the talk program, you can't move or anything, and I was just lucky enough to be accepted because they didn't accept that many. Now with Hagwons, there are so many Hagwons. So like if the first one doesn't work out, you have options. Like they're always, all year long, they're recruiting.
You can apply, you can apply around all year round, because different people are either, leaving, or their contracts end up in the middle of the year, so they need to fill a position. It does work out that way.
Just ended in June, right?
Right.
Whereas like public school, they usually end in like January, August, February. It's like the end of the term. It's never just the middle of the year where it'll just end like that.
Definitely apply during the high frequency application period, like between February and March and August and September, because not so much that you're looking for a position at that time, but that when your contract ends, that leaves you free to have a lot more job options, whether it's public or private, the next time. You may want to choose to stay at that same school. That's their personal opinion, but at least when you apply during those periods, you're keeping yourself available for the next cycle, and you're not just stuck in the middle of the year saying, I need to find another job, but right now it's kind of slow, so I don't know when I'm gonna get. You don't want to have that happen. It does waves where it's like really we need somebody now, or oh, not a lot of schools are looking right now, so you have to wait. When your visa is waiting on that waiting game, you have a little time to find a job, and you start to pick whatever's available, which means that your priorities get thrown out the window, and you may be stuck in a situation that you don't want to be in.
Also, speaking of visas, if you guys want to know more about visas, because I know they can be a bit tricky, just let me know in the comments, because I've experienced dealing with the stresses of trying to make sure your visa doesn't expire and renewing them and making sure it's acceptable and everything. Because with the talk program, you don't need a bachelor's degree. You need to be a college student with at least 2 years done or have your associates. But the general requirement to get an E2 visa, you have to have a bachelor's degree, 4-year degree. Like, that's kind of a solid.
It's more not so much the school itself, but the government.
Yes, the country's requirement.
You have to make sure that that's the requirement. And then some schools, in terms of like TEFL certificates or TESOL, any of those, like, they do look at those a little better.
Yeah,
but
that increases
you
your
can
chances.
find some.
I don't have a TEFL.
Yeah, and that you come from a fluently English-speaking country.
Oh yeah.
So
because a few you've also have asked about, what if I'm a citizen of this country now? Because the 7 countries, it's Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, the UK, South Africa, Canada, US.
You remember them better than me. So.
Now, some people, if you become a natural citizen, it does work. Because my friend, I'm not gonna say her name, she's from Honduras and she's an English teacher in Korea now. She got her citizenship and everything. She's been there for like a year now, working at a hagwon. So it's possible. I mean, I'm not sure with other countries how they accept it, but if you become an American citizen, I guess it works, because I know a girl who is not a natural born American citizen, but now she is.
I think that if you want to apply either to hagwon or you want to do public school, the key is making sure that you're prepared for your interview, and plenty of questions. So many questions that they may get tired of talking to you, but you need to be asking more questions than they're asking you, I feel like, because in order for you to find the right fit, you need to make sure that they're being transparent. Make sure that when you leave that interview, you're asking for contact information for current teachers at that school. And if they are kind of reluctant to supply you with that, that's a red flag.
Red flag.
you need to definitely get in contact with the teacher that is working there. You need to know, are you going to be brushing teeth? Are you going to be brushing hair? Are you going to be wiping bottoms? Because kindergartners, some kindergarterners aren't potty trained yet.
I went to visit you guys at work, and you had to take a kid to the bathroom, and I'm like, you have to do all that? And at public school, you don't do all that.
Definitely be prepared and be ready to know what age level you're wanting to teach. Yeah. And be clear with your recruiter, that's how old you want to teach. Because I came in and I was unsure. I was like, well, I like kids, maybe I want to do kindergarten. And I did kindergarten, and it was fun. I love kids, but now I realize that the tasks that I expected to do as a teacher kind of fit more elementary, middle school age, because
I like elementary.
They're
kids.
Still learning, ABC songs and stuff like that. I wanted to get into like grammar and vocabulary and spelling. I want to move up just a little level to just kind of feel more comfortable in the teaching range and have more responsibilities in terms of grading and stuff like that. But if you want to sing songs and dance,
baby shark,
and brush teeth,
baby shark, baby shark.
How did your school handle pension?
So they paid in every month. When they paid me, they took out the allotted portion and paid it into the taxes.
Okay.
So my pension was paid into each month that I got paid, not something that I had to do directly. What you really need to make sure is if the school is providing, they should provide health insurance. Follow up with it just to make sure that they've fully, registered you with the government. I've heard lots of scary stories where people have been promised, and then at the end of the day, they find out several months later that they never even got submitted into the government application for health insurance.
Yeah, with me, the pension, I actually never ended up paying it.
So at the end of it all, you had to, no? What happened?
I don't know what happened. When I was in Jeju, it was like May of 2017. My mentor teacher came in and showed me the paper, and then she took it. So she said she'll handle it. So I'm like, okay. And I noticed that my pay was still the solid, or 1.6 million won a month, and it wasn't coming out or anything. And even when I went to the mainland and taught at my new school, I got no new pension papers or anything. I was kind of worried that leaving the country, I'd have to like pay it all at once or be fined, but nothing happened. Now that's a unique situation, because one of my friends, she didn't pay it at first, and it became this whole thing where they're like, well, now we're going to take bigger portions out of your check to cover what you haven't been paying since you got here. Whereas I had another friend who they never asked her about it, but she wanted to make sure it was all paid, so she just saved it and paid it when she left. So pension is really important. Make sure you understand how the pension, all that works at your school and in the whatever province you're in. I still don't know what happened with me. I think maybe it has something to do with When I started, I was in Jeju, and then the program ended in Jeju, so I moved to the mainland, and there was some communication errors. That's the only thing I can think of. But pension's really important. Make sure you understand how that works. Now, the insurance with Talk is a bit different because we don't really get insurance. They kind of just reimburse you for whatever you paid. Healthcare is already really cheap in Korea to begin with. Like, I had tonsillitis twice, and I had to go to the doctor for it. And with all the medication and the checkup, it was only like 30,000 won, which is approximately 25 bucks. And I gave the receipt to my teacher, and they gave me my refund. That's kind of how it worked in the Talk program with me at my school.
So let's just say that you may be in a position where you don't like your work environment, or you think that they're doing something that is questionable. I would definitely recommend finding the Loft group on Facebook. Will help you to kind of find the contacts and information where you can ask the right questions and get the right answers in terms of legal rights as a teacher, because you do have rights still as
Legal Office of Foreign Teachers?
Legal Office of Foreign Teachers in Korea. And it's on Facebook. I think you have to request to be a part of it, and you have to be living in Korea, teaching in Korea, or whatever. But they will, it's kind of a forum where you can kind of ask a lot of questions, and maybe some people can give you advice, or they can give you contact information for government offices or stuff like that.
Yeah, I just found out about that. I'm like, what? You didn't invite me to this group? Like,
it's helpful.
I didn't know about it.
It's helpful.
But like I said, like, I get a lot of questions about I'm about to finish my bachelor's, I want to go to Korea, but I found this recruiter, I'm trying to work at this Hagwon. So I just want to emphasize how very different Hagwons are from public schools. Hagwons, the hours, some are like 2 p.m. to like 10 p.m. Some are like morning only,
9
like
a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yeah,
you know, it depends on the school, and the school itself creates the curriculum.
What would your
daily tasks be?
Because I guarantee they were a lot more than what I had to do.
Generally, when my students came, because they were younger, first of all, the big age difference in our students. My kids were very young.
I only taught
3 and age 6, so
I taught kindergarten once a month.
Yeah. And younger students do need a lot more care. So
3rd through 6th grade.
When they come in the morning, we generally will get their backpacks, help them take their jackets, their backpacks, their masks, because everyone wears a mask in Korea. And we put them in their cubbies, we help them get their lunch trays out. They have their own routines that they have to do themselves, but you have to kind of guide them through it every day because they're kids and they don't remember. And then generally we'll start with a song or depending on the curriculum.
Baby shark do 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 do.
And the schedule for that day, you'll follow the curriculum. We would cover reading, let's say we had our reading that time, and then snack. Snack is a big deal in our school. With my school, I had to kind of guide them at lunchtime. So you have to kind of watch over them at lunch. You can't just walk off and be like, Deuce, it's lunchtime, I'm gone.
That was it though. I mean, like, you sit with the kids in talk program and everything, but like you're not required to watch. Like, you see them sit with like the first graders sit with the first grade teacher, 3rd grade with the 3rd grade teacher. Sometimes, they want to sit next to you and like, teacher, and like watch you eat.
I thought it was fun eating with my kids.
I wasn't required to like help them eat or anything like that. I know an English teacher who works at Hagwon who teaches multiple subjects. Like, she's their PE teacher also. With English at public school, you just teach English, in my experience. I've never met someone in the talk program who taught a class other than English. Like, I've met Hagwon teachers who teach science,
like I mentioned,
art, PE. You're like more of a full-time.
If you find yourself in a situation that's questionable, you need to contact.
Wait, that's not supposed to. Really?
If you're on an E2 visa, you're supposed to be teaching English. Now, I've seen some schools with some great wordplay on the name of the classes, but yeah.
Really?
I don't know what her visa is. I don't know her situation.
It's
just research what you're supposed to, as your duties as an English teacher. Definitely look up everything that is okay. If the school, like, I don't know how the school did it. So like, if the school created an English PE class, that's their school situation. But generally, when they're asking you to do stuff like that, you need to be very, very aware of what they're requiring and how they're requiring you to teach it. And definitely contact Loft and say, hey, it helps to check so that you're not in a situation where you shouldn't be. Because I've also heard horror stories of schools getting shut down for that very thing. They have teachers teaching something other than English, which the E2 visa is supposed to be for, and they get shut down.
I will say, like,
Confirm.
when I was doing like research for going out to Korea, watching YouTube videos, I've heard I mean, I'm not trying to bash Hagwons. I've just heard so many more sketchy stories with Hagwons versus public schools. Like, I've heard of stories where people have been fired to avoid getting their severance pay. I've heard stories where people, they just ask you to do way more than you were required to in your contract, and then if you don't agree to that, they fire you. I think a public school is a lot more like stable. Everything is like
Government regulated.
Yeah,
right.
so there's no loopholes, and even if there is, it's way easier to call them out on it and be like, you're not supposed to be doing this to me, I'm gonna call so and so, and you can deal with it easier. I feel like Hagwons, there's so many of them and they're privately owned, it's just easier to get around stuff. So for me personally, I never wanted to work at a Hagwon, and I still don't. I was excited to be at a public school. It's more stable, more stability.
The dog.
Just take all this with a grain of salt. No school is the same. Not everything's shady. Not everything's sunshine and rainbows. It's just everyone has their own experience. I figured she'd be a good one to give you guys the run, because Erin is very no nonsense, very know my rights, read the lines, terms and conditions. I'm with the talk. I get a lot of questions about teaching in general, and I can only speak for talk, which is pretty small compared to all the other teaching opportunities in Korea with Corvia and Epic and all the recruiters and Hagwon. So this is talk. This is an example of what a Hagwon can be like.
Just one though. Like I said, there's so many differences.
Many people love it.
So.
Many people maybe not so much. It just depends. Everyone has their own story. Okay, so thanks for watching. If you did, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next week. Annyeong.
Annyeong.
Good luck teaching in Korea.